Jaguar F-Type is a big favourite here at Motor Magazine, and it did pretty well at last year's Performance Car of the Year. And one of the reasons for that was because it did fantastic skids. It is just a hooligan car. So what does Jaguar do? They put all-wheel drive under it. So the question is, have they gilded the lily? Have they ruined the fun that this car was? Well, one thing hasn't changed, and that's that this car has the baddest, the most antisocial exhaust note this side of a V8 supercar. In fact, this side of 3 or 4 V8 supercars. Cop this. That can't be legal. And if it is, maybe we're not as over-governed as we think we are.
Jaguar F-Type R all-wheel drive, 1 minute 35.8. This car on track was unbelievable. Look, I was always a fan of the F-Type, but it was a car that was so tail happy, you just never had the confidence to push on. With now all-wheel drive, this car gives you the confidence to not only push hard, but most importantly, it doesn't take away from the character of the vehicle. So many vehicles, when they go to four-wheel drive, they just become an understeering car on the limit. Whereas this car, thankfully, it's still got all that great character of the regular F-Type, but it just gives you a lot more confidence. It's like the Jaguar's got its claws back, and it really digs in well. The engine's great, the chassis is fantastic. The gearbox is probably the only thing that lets it down slightly when you're going into the corner and you want a downshift. It's not a nice positive downshift like, say, on the C63 or on the GT3, but certainly for that small little problem, I could definitely live with this car.
It's easy to sort of not take the Jag F-Type seriously. You know, it makes a loud, shouty noise, it looks amazing, and adding all-wheel drive hasn't really dampened that. We thought that it might make it a bit dull even, given that the rear driver is so entertaining, but no, it's kept the agility and the sort of playfulness of the rear drive up, added a heap of traction, and it is so insanely fast.
Out on the open road, man, open that thing up and hear that exhaust bellow off the hills. It'll stay with me for a very, very long time. It's got great manners on the road, it's got great turn, it'll power out of a corner like nobody else's business. On the track, for me, maybe not the best thing here. The front end doesn't feel as convincing as it does out on the road. Certainly nothing wrong with that Supercharged V8 though, let me tell you.
The Jag is a monster. I drove it after a couple of the slower cars here, and it took me half the racetrack for my brain to catch up with just how fast it is. It is so fast, it just has you swearing under your breath at just the raw acceleration. We love the rear drive F-Type coupe a lot, and we were worried that a pair of front drive shafts might ruin its very drifty nature, if you like, but in fact the all-wheel drive has given it traction that it kind of needs in some ways, and it's helped to convert its ridiculous power to speed quite well.